Wait a minute. Whose tweet was this?
Who knows?
It was his?
No, it's saying that he is dead. And it's coming from Fox News Politics.
So, all right. So Fox News got hacked. Their tweet account got hacked.
Right.
Is what you're saying.
Right. Or, what is it really? I mean,
I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah. You've heard of predictive programming, right?
No.
No? Predictive programming saying like...
I've heard of...
Basically lessening an event to be coming. Like, there's Simpsons and 9/11. There was a bunch of other stuff, actually. Once you start looking, there's tons of crap. But whether it was, purposely planted or not is yet to be seen or known. Probably never could be. But, there's a lot of things that happen.
And here's the thing is that ultimately that's certainly 100% going to come true because we're all going to die.
Oh, true. But, what... I posted this up. I shared it real quick, but I wrote, possible predictive programming event.
Yeah, cool.
That leads to World War III. Seriously, how could they spin it if he was assassinated? What would happen? Honestly, quite honestly, what would happen?
Well,
I
don't know. I mean, it doesn't even really, the tweet doesn't even really put it in that context. I mean, now we're just assuming that, he could choke on a piece of chicken, during today's festivities.
It says he was shot twice at a Ross's restaurant in Iowa while campaigning. What? Yeah, while campaigning. R.I.P. Obama. Best regards to the Obama family.
Now, here's the deal. What if...
And it says, we wish Joe Biden the best of luck as our new president of the United States in such a time of madness.
Now,
there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
How do we know that this tweet actually occurred and that it's not a report of a tweet which never happened? I mean, that's the thing about this.
Because it's still up, I guess. And yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like the new Ministry of Truth, they're totally tweaking and gaming all our social networks. I mean, Facebook, frickin', Twitter, definitely. You got frickin' Clinton out there, Hillary Clinton, with all her techno experts out there just seeding just whatever the hell they want. Information, disinformation, whatever.
So here's the thing is that, well, what a rabbit hole.
Yeah, exactly.
What a twisting thing, because that could then be...
I'll even go a little bit weirder and a little bit further out. Have you ever checked out the Denver airport murals?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, there's a video out there of some dude that's been going back and forth talking with Anderson Cooper, basically he's calling him a kook, but he's not, saying he's not, obviously, but giving possible reasons or interpretations of the meaning of those murals, and one of them kind of depicts a president dead, kind of thing, and these are supposed prophecies, like the ones that have already occurred. They paint it over, really, really weird. If you really want to get into some crazy conspiracy theories, and also check out some insane murals and art that is out there for everybody to see in a public setting, which is weird to begin with. Check that out. Check out Denver Airport, new Denver Airport. And we're not even going to get into all the tunnels underneath that.
Now, is the DUMS or whatever they're called?
They're still building them.
Now, the mural that was painted over, is that the one with the AUAG? Is it AUAG, which is Australian antigen, the preferred mode of biological weapon? Which is I don't want to.
There's been multiple ones painted over, but the one that I'm thinking of right away is the one that mostly everybody sees, and it's like some crazy stormtrooper looking dude with
the dove at the end of his.
Yeah, it's like Arabian saber or something.
Yeah, it is an Arabian saber. I was going to say, I think it's at the end of his bayonet, but it is at the end of his saber. But anyway, it is painted over, but it's easy to find on the internet. Yeah.
City no more. I don't wanna live in the city no more. Everything about it is such a bore. I don't wanna live in the city no more. I'm going up the country where less is more. I don't wanna live in the city no more.
Thanks for joining us. This is Robert Joseph, your host for the Crisis Club, and on this dialogue I am joined with my friend and fellow Crisis Club member, Chris Stanley. And somewhat of a distinguished title Crisis Club member because I don't exactly even know what the Crisis Club is, let alone how you become a member. But I know that he has a formative presence within this thing that we call Crisis Club. So I'm really glad to be talking with him now. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing great, Rob. I really appreciate being here, and I appreciate all the accolades there.
Well, I appreciate you, my man. I guess without getting too, personal, whatever, we'll just, I had the pleasure of spending the 4th of July with you and your family. And, that was pretty special. Not just the day, which, us around here, we would pay particular, attention to the Independence Day anyway. But
absolutely,
that day was particularly significant, and I'm not ever going to forget it. And I want to thank you for that. But it took on a specific, special meaning, the independence aspect of it. And I'm just going to go ahead and let you kind of take it from here and explain what took place.
All right. Well, Rob joined my wife, myself, and my son as we slaughtered and enjoyed a feast, so to speak, with our own chickens. And it was the 3rd time we've actually slaughtered our own chickens, and it gets better and better each time. We get better and better breeds of chicken each time, and you learn amazing new things about yourself, about chickens, and about the whole process in general. And it was great to share it with you, Rob. We really enjoyed it, and I don't think it would have been near as fun or as much of a learning experience without you there.
Yeah, and thank you for that, and again, thank you for inviting me and having me there. It was a real privilege. And you mentioned, and I don't want to misquote you, but you just mentioned basically about how it's just a really deep learning experience. And the first thing that I want to get into is the emotional effect that it had slaughtering these chickens. I can't remember the last time I purposely killed something aside from a fly or cockroach. Something that is a pest, and a menace to me. When I was a child, I would go around collecting and even to an extent torturing bugs, But since I had begun to grow up and be a sympathetic, compassionate person, I don't take pleasure in hurting things. So, and this sort of gets into it's a big deal. Okay, because we are totally disconnected from where our food comes from. Everybody, or not everybody, but many, many millions, and if not billions of people are enjoying meals of meat. Harvest
every day, and they have no idea what it took to get it there. Even if they do, they choose to ignore what's going on or what has to happen to get to that meal.
And the meat and the flesh was harvested from a living creature, which was slaughtered, which was killed for the purpose of eating it. And now the thing that we're instantly confronted with when slaughtering this creature was basically who's going to see, what are they going to think? That's the first thing that you're confronted with, right?
Absolutely. We actually thought about doing it in the front yard, kind of to give it, maybe get some questions from neighbors and kind of be able to open up that door, and kind of decide against it. Went to the backyard and did it as to not draw as much attention. And Rob was videotaping, and then at the same time, even what he was videotaping, he wasn't sure what to videotape or what was appropriate to videotape, not because of me, but because of what he was feeling and because of what we were feeling like, is this too much for some people?
Yeah, and I decided that basically it would be better to videotape it and not need it than to need it and not have videotaped it. So we did get footage of the slaughtering of these chickens from the beheading, onward, and it's graphic, and it's not something
very graphic. It wasn't a traditional slaughtering. We have our own little methods that we developed, even on the spot, of how to accomplish the goal, the easiest and quickest way for the chicken.
Yeah, and at first, I mean, when I went over there and when I was confronted with, the fact that we're going to slaughter these chickens, 3 total. By the beginning of the first one, if Chris had handed me the knife and said, "You do it, you kill this chicken," I could not have done it. I mean, I could not. I can't put it any plainer than that. But by not just the third chicken, but by the time I was dunking the headless carcass of a chicken in boiling water in order to facilitate taking the feathers off, which was a mere 30 to 45 minutes, I could have done it. I had crossed that threshold to where I could kill and process a chicken if it meant basically me or the chicken. You know what I mean? If it comes down to it, I can, kill and slaughter a chicken to feed myself and those I care about.
Yeah, and it really is a huge emotional process, and it's a huge change in thought process inside yourself as you work through that, because society has kind of put it into us, whether by shadow governments or however you want to look at it, the inner workings of the system, that all violence and aggression, which obviously it's not violence and aggression, but they make you feel that way when you're taking on that task, that this is unnecessary. I could just go to Food Lion and buy this chicken, and I wouldn't have to do this. And I feel initially bad about it. Even myself, that was the second time I personally had done it. The first time my wife had slaughtered chicken, I still felt some of that on the first chicken. Mm-hmm. You know what? Is this really necessary? Am I doing the right thing? Am I not compassionate? Am I really doing the right thing? And I felt that for a split second, but once you get started, it kind of,
there's no going back.
Your natural instincts really do take over. Of this is what we're supposed to do, and this is what happens whether I take responsibility for it or not. And that's kind of key. Is when we eat at McDonald's or we grab the boneless, skinless chicken breast that really looks like a chicken breast. Yeah, as you saw, until it gets to the final cooking stage, from Food Lion, you're not taking any responsibility other than the 40 minutes you worked at work to make that paycheck to be able to go buy that chicken with, the $12 or whatever the price might be. And taking responsibility for that life, you can kind of put a different perspective on it and more awe around the chicken and the meal itself.
Yeah, and there was... And again, you touched on how, we've sort of been robbed of not just the knowledge, but basically the responsibility and the right to provide, to know how to do this. I mean, here's the thing. When the average person is confronted with a living chicken, I mean, you see that chicken, most people might even be surprised how what they even look like in real life. You know what I mean? Yet you know what chicken is. You know it's food, and yet if you're confronted with one, and ask yourself, would I know how to make that food? Because you don't just put it in the microwave. You don't just put it in it's a process. You've got to process this meat, and that's kind of what Crisis Club, when you boil it down, I mean, that's what it at least partially what this is about, is preparing us for critical times. I believe Chris happens to share the belief that right now we are faced with we are at a critical time in human history, and we are faced with these unique circumstances which humanity has never been faced with. And
I totally agree with you, Rob. And it's not only the aspect that most people would think, whether it be a huge economic collapse, huge catastrophe of any magnitude, but just in human history, we're almost to the first time where people don't know what it's like to slaughter chicken. Mm-hmm. I mean, really, this is the first time in history that it is not normal for the average family to be doing some sort of gardening or farming. It's mind-boggling. The last generation to two generations have just totally changed, the way we've looked at food
and how we get it and what we rely on in order to, because I mean, we're talking about something that we need to live, and you really need to